Hey everybody, this is Sean for the B Minus Show. I want to thank you very much for tuning into my podcast. Check me out at B Minus Show. Today I have a very special guest. I went out on a limb and reached out to Mr. Joseph Rodrigues, and I got him here on the phone today. And I think you're really going to enjoy the show. We've never met before, so it's kind of like he's listened to my podcast, but I've watched his videos a lot more, so we kind of know each other just from the internet. But we decided not to do any speaking about what we're going to talk about before I hit the record button. So with that being said, could you introduce yourself? Hello?
Okay. Yes. First of all, thanks for having me on your show. It's great. This is fun for many reasons. Number one, because I like the stuff that you talk about, and number two is because we've never met before. We've never talked before. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, so this is going to be a lot of fun. And I like to do things off the cuff, dynamic, present, in the moment. I'm a very ready, fire, aim person. So a little bit about myself. I, career-wise, we'll focus on entrepreneurship,
sure.
But we can talk about whatever you want. I spent 10 years, or invested 10 years of my life in corporate, and it was a great experience in my 20s. And then after that, I started an IT business. I grew it up to 50 clients. I started selling off my clients, and I decided that I was going to figure out what to do next. And I started making YouTube videos and figuring out, based on the kind of responses that I get from the audience, so what kind of videos that they would like, and really finding my unique ability and my niche, or my voice, you could say, that they really enjoy me doing these lengthy discussions on books and, reflecting back on my experience in business, corporate, productivity. I'm a big personal development junkie, as you know from my videos.
Yeah.
In a pragmatic sense, I like learning and taking action and applying it and reporting back. So I do all that on my YouTube channel, and I discuss these books. And so the channel grew, ended up getting me consulting deals. I created online training products, multiple streams of revenue, and so forth. And now this has become something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very excited about when I'm out and about in LA. This is very interesting, Sean. I can go up and I love to talk with people. I love, wherever I am, in the lineup at Starbucks, grocery store. I love meeting people. And I could talk about, how's your day? This is what I'm up to, whatever. But as soon as I bring up the YouTube channel, their eyes light up. They're like, you got a YouTube channel? And they get a little passionate about it. So that's how I know I really found something that is not only something I'm very passionate about, but it brings about passion in others. And I felt that you resonated with that from my channel as you watch my videos. So that's my little intro. How was that? Off the cuff.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I'm a self-help junkie as well. And, they kind of, what do you want to say? It's like you read a book and then you kind of like get maybe it piggybacks onto another book or another author. And that's kind of how I've been reading a lot of these type of books, self-help books for the most part, psychology and all that for a very long time. And I heard about the book Power of the Subconscious Mind, and I really like listening to books. So I just typed it into YouTube because I was on a long commute, and I found your book, and I was really intrigued by your voice and the way you did things with your mind maps. And I thought it was very interesting how you did the mind maps, and you read the book and the way you break it down in a very simple form.
Well, thank you. Yeah, really, that was a video. I never thought I was going to get into the subconscious mind discussions, but I realized that it was actually one of the key areas to focus on in personal development, is to really reflect upon what's in your subconscious mind, where the programming came from, and rewrite the stories, because you could do that. You could rewrite it through internal conversation. A great book that I recommend is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. I did a video on that. And also taking action to essentially rewrite these stories and experiences from your past that now end up being a disempowering service to you, whatever your goal is today, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is. And I realized that Power of Subconscious Mind is a great book, and there's all these other books written on rewriting the subconscious mind. And so now a lot of what I talk about and reflect upon is, and actually I have a very interesting process that I could talk about also.
Yeah, please.
Where I lie down on Sundays. This is my reflection day. Okay, I reflect upon. So even this conversation is going to seem very reflection based. And what I like to do is I reflect upon my week, And I look at, I raise the bar in areas of my life like communication, my YouTube channel, business, client dealings, different areas of my life that I'm really passionate about and I want to grow in. And I reflect back upon different scenarios and different experiences I had during the week. And then I'm not only looking at like what those experiences were on a surface level, but what the meaning is from the experience and how it's different to the meaning that I had through similar experiences before, and just all kinds of stuff like that. I'm looking to rewrite meanings in my mind. Does that sound interesting, or does that sound like crazy?
Yeah, no, that's like programming yourself, right? Like kind of what we're talking about is you're making your mind process what happened and, try, like you said, rewrite it. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So you do this once a week. So do you just sit in a room or something for like an hour? Do you have like a set time? Is it just like whenever it's done, or?
So I still do it during the week. It's just that Sundays I dedicate time in the morning to do it. So it's not set time. It's just most of Sunday is in reflection mode.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most people do put in, good. If you're an entrepreneur, then you put in arguably all your time during the week.
Yeah.
And I used to do 7 days a week. And then one of my friends, UJ, who actually, he created this 5-minute journal, which is a great journal that you can do 5 minutes a day. And so he told me one time, this was back in the days, he's like, why do you work 7 days a week? He's like, when do you have time to reflect? And I was like, oh yeah, I don't have time to reflect. And so I started taking Sundays to reflect, and it made a big difference. Mm-hmm. Because I would find insights, I'd find perspectives, I'd find new ways of doing things that are essentially 80-20 based, 80-20 principle based. I'm a big fan of that, as you know on my channel. I talk a lot about that. And one of my mentors, Jay Abraham, always talks about highest and best use. Highest and best use, essentially, what is the highest and best use of your time, your energy, your opportunity costs, and reflecting upon the activities, the events, and the different experiences of the week on Sunday allow me to reevaluate what are my highest and best use of all these different kinds of resources that you get and that you have access to, and then go next week in implementation to take action on those highest and best use items, thus compounding and increasing your results, right? Because arguably, for the most part, we don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again because we're just going to get the same result, right? We want to rise up, we want to level up, we want to take bolder actions out of our comfort zone. We want to tap into new opportunities that are calculated, and we find that, they're opportunistic, as in, we've done our research and we've just not executed upon it for whatever reason because we're just constantly doing the same thing and stuff like that. So there's no set way of doing things, but I do dedicate a large part of Sunday to doing that.
Yeah, and it's the things that you do, for example, your reflection on Sunday is a result of you doing a lot of research and going through your own process and, figuring out what works for you. So it may not necessarily work for somebody else, but it's probably, it is definitely what works out for you. So that's kind of the tricky thing about self-help and whatnot is you get some contradicting information as well. And, you maybe get into a routine of sorts, and then you learn some new information, then you decide if you want to put that new information into your routine, but it could disrupt your other routine. Do you ever run into anything like that?
So I found, and hopefully this answers the question or speaks directly to it, that we have to develop an internal gauge or inner voice, as they call it. We have to tune into our inner voice. We all have it. And we need to really find what is right for us based on the large volumes of information we're consuming. So that being said, what we need to do is we need to look at what area in our life we want to improve in. And then we go out and we find some books. And the key is to recognize that we're not going to rely, as the journey progresses, totally on books and external information. We're going to learn to tap into our inner voice to differentiate how to implement it and what way to implement it, which is going to be varying degrees, not necessarily directly what's in the way that the author presents it. So that's how my channel came about. It's insights and perspectives. It's my insights and perspectives built upon these great philosophies and books that were, these authors dedicated arguably their whole life to write these books, a lot of them. And one has to reflect internally, take action on what they feel is right, which is usually a varying degree of what's in the book. In the beginning, it could be the direct application of what's in the book. And then when they go out and apply it, they reflect upon the actions and the results they get, and then figure out what they need to optimize next. And then it might not be the same book. It might be another book related in the area. They might actually find out that they're not even really passionate about what they're working on, and they will jump into another area. Like, for example, I got into entrepreneurship. I was an entrepreneur growing up. I was very entrepreneurial. But I worked 10 years in corporate. But it was through a very intense period of time in personal development, and I've been in personal development for a long time, but really an intense period of time when I was 28 that actually I got the insight and never thought about it that I was going to go back to entrepreneurship. And now I'm not looking back at it. It was a great decision that I made. And, that all came from varying applications from the books that, I don't know if I'm speaking to your question, but that's
you are, totally.
That's what I reflected upon from what you're saying. So, I've become this advocate for people tapping into their inner voice, because that's what's really helped me. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Even this whole Sunday experience where I reflect upon, you're really tapping into your inner voice, because the truth is, in your subconscious mind, you have tons of experience. How old are you right now, Sean?
I'm 38.
38. So I'm 37. We've got tons of experience. Even if you're in your 20s, you've got tons of experience and reference experience that you've had in various scenarios in your life that's buried deep in your subconscious mind. And what we want to do is we want to quiet a lot of the noise that's going in from the external world and really pay attention internally as that information gets processed and it gets presented to you. Almost like a movie sometimes, or a conversation or an insight or something. And then from that, you get an action item. Go take action on that, and then see what within your awareness is the next insightful data, I call it, because I come from an IT background, so I'd say insightful data. So it could be another book and so forth. So I'm all about that. I'm not about just relying too much about what the authors say or what other people tell you to do, but really listen to yourself. I mean, part of it is listening to the advice of others that have gone down the pathway. But I like to, and I think this is where the personal development movement is going, is into self-reflection before, tapping into intuition, and just that large volume of data we have in our subconscious mind before we make decisions. I believe that's the differentiating factor in what signal versus noise is, which is one of my favorite concepts. You're familiar with that? Signal versus noise?
No. I mean, I could guess, but I don't know the exact phrase.
And I don't know where I learned this from, but essentially, when you know what you want in life, or even if you don't know what you want exactly, because I believe actions create clarity. The more actions you take, the clearer you get, the more you recognize what you want. And what happens is that your reticular activating system and all these, like, I'm not a brain expert, but all these internal mechanics, mechanisms or whatever go into place, including the subconscious mind, to essentially filter out what is not important to you in your life. And a lot of times we fight that through inner resistance. We're like, no, we have to pay attention to this, but we could feel it, that it's not the right thing to do. And when we tune into that, we get really good at sifting and sorting through the large volumes of information that's being presented to us every day, whether it's books, advertising, media, people. Everyone's trying to get our attention, instant messengers and so forth, to really determine what information we should be paying attention to and taking action. So that would be the signal, the information that resonates with us to take action on the signal, and everything else would be noise. And not to say the noise is bad, because noise to you could be signal to someone else. It's just about inner knowing and tapping into the differentiation which comes through a process.
So what are some things, like, so you say reflection is maybe one way to get to that. What are some other actions maybe people could take or do, or maybe what you have done, like to get to that inner signal? Is it like meditation? I mean, obviously it does vary by the person, but I guess what works for you, or what have you seen work for people to be able to tap into that inner signal?
You're right. What works for me might not work for everyone else. And this is a great question. And if I reflect upon it right now, I'd say meditation helps, because it helps center you, and it even scientifically has been proven to realign the connections in the brain and all that kind of stuff. You can read up on it. So it really helps you connect into, grounds yourself and so forth. Number one. Number two is, what I believe personally is the pinnacle is knowing exactly what you want. Napoleon Hill, one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the burning desire and having definite purpose, and having this definite purpose and having the burning desire, and the burning desire amplifies. The more you have the affirmations in the morning to say, I wake up and I read affirmations.
Uh-huh.
And the affirmations state what my goals are, and the goals change with time as I achieve my goals. And that's a brain calibrator right there. That's an instruction to the subconscious mind saying that is what I want to focus on. And then what you do is you navigate through your day and you take action. You start to reflect upon the information and stuff, and you will start to tune in as to what is valid and what's not. That's one way of doing it. So meditation, number one. Number two is being clear and definite on your purpose. And if you're not clear and definite on your purpose, I believe in becoming clear and definite on being clear and definite on your purpose. As in have a desire, what I'm trying to say? Like, have a desire to go. And number three is associating. This is so powerful. Associating yourself with people who are clear, who are specific, who operate from a place of integrity, not just telling the truth, but integrity towards their vision, and they're dedicating time every day. It doesn't matter. I talk to people from all kinds of walks of life. I might have somewhat of a bias towards entrepreneurs, but I respect anyone who dedicates themselves to their family, dedicates themselves to their career, to a hobby, to an art.
Versus like just drifting or something, like drifting through life.
Versus just drifting, right? And to each their own, they can drift. But what I found is during drifting stages of my life is I wouldn't know what was the signal versus noise. I would drift all kinds of areas and I'd be like, how did I end up here? This is not good. I like this, but this is not good. But we live in a very exciting world right now, and the opportunities are so abundant with the internet, like how you and I met. You could sit there. A good book that I've been going through is Acres of Diamonds. Have you read
yeah. Russell Conwell, I believe it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Have right now, arguably right now, we have that Acres of Diamonds, access to the Acres of Diamonds, even more so than ever before, because you got the internet, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You could start a YouTube channel. You could start an Instagram account. You could start a website. You could start a Snapchat. And you can, if you dedicate yourself to learning how to monetize business skills, marketing skills, communication skills, watching what the other experts are doing and making that your thing, you can turn it into a full-fledged business. Right?
Definitely.
And it's dedication.
And as you're talking, I'm reflecting back on myself, thinking, even how I got to this podcast, like just learning how the mixer works, and then learning like how to do a podcast host, and being frustrated a few nights, but just writing down like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to work on this. And then, hey, is this what I want to do? And I even had like golf on there. Like I don't golf as much as I used to, because life's changed for me. But on the podcast, golf it's still up there as a tab on my B- show, but I don't really golf as much anymore. I just kind of like realize that's more of a hobby, and my time is limited. So going back to like the reflection thing, I gotta agree with you, because I think I just kind of did it without even trying. I just kind of realized, hey, look, I'm not going to dedicate my life to golf anymore. I was into it at that time, but I don't see how golf kind of ties into the other things in my life, or it's kind of taking away time where I could be doing something else. And I think that's when things get a little difficult also, is getting overwhelmed. Or there's a lot of things myself, I start taking on a lot of things, and then I have to really reflect and realize I'm doing too much, or this is getting too complicated. Let me back up here for a minute and try to realize why I'm doing this. Is that, you ever experiencing anything like that? Or
yes, and by the way, I have to say that it to me it goes on forever, and that's a beautiful thing. And here's some points related to that. I was a lot more scatterbrained and lack of focus as I was. I was way more back in the days than I am now. But even then, when I reflect upon my week, I realized that I could do even better. There's so much opportunity to get even more focused, to get even more specific, to change things around, reflect. I mean, there is a ton of things, Sean, that I have on. I use Trello to manage myself. And every time I get an idea of something to implement on my YouTube channel, or the whole process, the front end and back end, lead generation, conversion, all that stuff, every time I get an idea, there's only so much I can do as far as myself, my contractors, and whoever else that helps out. I put them into this section in Trello, and I recognize there's so much more that I can do, and that never ends, right? And then it's a matter of, okay, which is a higher priority right now? What do you determine to be a higher priority? If it's business and entrepreneurship, and you're starting out, then and you want to leave your job right away, then perhaps maybe focus on the income first. So you're going to implement things that are high probable to generate the most income right away, and then later on, when you save some capital, you're going to look at reinvesting back in your audience through a lot of content and growth in them, without asking for a lot of return. That comes later. Like, it depends on where you're at, and that goes on forever. So yesterday, I was in one of my friends. He introduced me to a guy named Ben. Ben runs a very successful business where they actually go out and buy financial businesses, and he came down from Australia, and he rented this beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills, and I got to hang out there, and it's beautiful. It's a bungalow and lodge in the hills. You got this pool, and amazing. This beautiful place. We hung out, and this guy's making millions of dollars, and he's young. He's like 36. And I asked him, I said, why are you at this higher level than I am? And, he's tutored to go to a really high level, this Ben. So he said, because am I allowed to swear on this show?
Yeah, totally.
He said, because you throw around too much. And I'm like, man, I'm
really?
like, that's the truth. Yeah, I said, that's the truth. Because you got to look at it, it's all contrast, right? Because in his reality, if you're doing a deal that's, 4,000 or 5,000 or 10 or 15,000, it's not even worth his time. He's interested in, I don't know what I haven't really dug into his business.
That's 80-20 right there. That's like, I'm in agreement with him. Is that what you're talking about? Like, he knows if he takes that $10,000-$15,000 deal, it's going to give him, a bunch of headaches. And then he's like, this is the minimum I'm going to do here.
Yeah. And actually I took some notes, and he gave some very advice that can seem very like, cliche or tried or whatever, but the reality is that there is a few simple rules. A great podcast that I'd listened to a while back was the I Love Marketing podcast. He did this 10-minute talk with Darren Hardy where he interviews this very successful, I think he was a billionaire or something like that in his 80s, and his advice was essentially only a few things matter about anything, right? Highest and best use. Only a few things you could do at a time every day, or only one thing you can do at a time. And, this was, but coming from him, this is the power. Coming from him, because he has a higher level of success than I do, my brain is more likely to listen, right? Mm-hmm. Because we know the difference between someone who's achieved success, and by the way, success is relative, right? Because because he was talking about this yesterday, he's like, well, in contrast to Warren Buffett, I'm fucking around, right? and he's like, this is going to keep going, right? It's just going to keep going. So he said, he gave me some key points that were some nuggets. So he said, if you do something that can't be used in more than one way, don't do it. So in other words, he was talking about content. He's talking about if you're going to do a video, are you going to bundle it and reuse it somewhere else? Are you going to multi-purpose it? Are you going to package it? Are you going to repost it? If you do a training program, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to use it to sell on your website? Are you going to bundle it in an upcoming offer for maybe a monthly membership site? Are you going to then use that course to give as a promotional piece to get you some consulting deals? Do you gift it to your prospective clients to increase the likelihood that they're going to reciprocate for you? When you do one thing, he's thinking 7 different ways at least. If you're going to do one thing,
really,
that's quite interesting, right?
It is.
And then he also talked about going back to old leads because, I had IT business and I sold off the clients, but I can always go back to those clients and sell them other products and services, not just mine, but our products and services I can partner with other providers of that service and take a percentage. Mm-hmm. So he's talking about going back to old leads because, Jay always hammers this. He talks about in referrals. Referrals, when you do referrals, by the way, my whole IT business was built on referrals. Mm-hmm. You essentially have to work way less to get a client from one, or turn a prospect into a client from a referral than just cold, right? Mm-hmm. It's no different than like dating, for example. You can go out, and I think it's great. go out, meet people in public, go and approach in the nightclubs and so forth. But when one of your best friends sets you up with best friend's girlfriend sets you up with her best friend, there's some kind of instant, bypassing the line, you could say, that happens, referral. So there's all these different kinds of things. He said that. What else did he say?
And this was just last night you're learning this stuff.
So he said that this is probably the biggest advice.
Uh-huh.
So I said to him, I said, Ben, I have an issue. I grew my IT business up to 50 clients. I grew multiple different opportunities and different deals, and we can talk about the deals that I did, to a high level. But then when I get to a certain level a month, because I'm a very lifestyle driven person. You see, I travel. I'm in LA right now. I like to work out of Mexico. I'll be in
frown too much. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Right. He's right, but you know what? I had great experiences. But now I'm going to step it up because I'm committed to go to the next level.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. So you're enjoying the fruits of your labor. Now you're ready to do something else.
Yeah, because there's interesting things that happen in entrepreneurship and business. Once you build a business up to a six-figure level and you have very low overhead, you got a lot of freedom, you do have a lot of opportunity to go around and stuff like that. Or you might not necessarily go around as far as, look, I'm using all these like crazy words. Your audience is going to hate me.
It's all good.
You can edit that out if you want. But essentially what's happening is you might not be doing your highest and best use, right? You're not serving the audience. You're not serving the market as well as you could. So in a way, internally in my head, I'm like kind of being a little disrespectful. The audience or the market has invested in you to create more products and services to serve them by paying you. And you're kind of just not taking it as serious. So I said to him, I got this thing that when I get to a certain amount of monthly income, no matter what I do, I tend to like coast a little bit. You could even say drift. But not in the sense where I'm drifting and doing all kinds of debaucherous things. I'm more like not doing my highest and best use and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm masquerading it around as productivity. And I think we all do that to some degree. And he said to me, he looked me straight in the eye, he's like, yeah, I've had that happen to me. He's like, the difference between me and you, he's like, I said to myself, that's never going to happen again, and I'm going to mean it. And I said, really? That's it? He's like, yeah. And he's like, you got to mean it. He's like, what else can you do? And then when he said it to me, I was like, okay, it really is down to that decision. As simple as it sounds, it really comes down to the decision to say, it's not going to happen again. Like, I'm going to grow, I'm going to level up, and when I level up, I'm going to double down. I'm going to double down, I'm going to double down, and this is going to go on forever. Because that's where I have the most passion. I get the most passion when I'm figuring out how to grow and get the deals to come in, how to optimize the traffic, get more opportunities that come in. You figure out how to serve those opportunities without putting yourself there by either doing partnerships or joint ventures or doing percentage deals, affiliate deals, whatever it is. It's so much fun that to me it's like, where else would you want to be? So I mean, that's my I wanted to share that, and I thought it was really valuable.
Definitely. But he was kind of giving you crap for messing around or whatever, and I've been there before, but you almost sometimes
you can say messing around. It could be, I guess this is what goes up on iTunes. I've been a disservice to you. You can't put it as clean now.
Oh, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it. It's just a habit for me because I used to cuss so hardcore with my buddy. We just get drunk and just cuss and whatever. And I
cuss when I get really passionate.
It's all good, man. No, it's totally cool. I'm not worried about it at all. I think my audience is definitely mature enough to handle a few cuss words. So, and if they're not, whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, you almost have to go through some things though in order to get to that next level. So, mess around, whatever. Never doing it again, but you have to make your own decision. Hey, is this what I want to continue to do? I got a buddy who does that. He still golfs a lot. He still plays around a lot. And we did that together for quite a while, but now he's starting another business. So, I don't know if he had like the same kind of realization as your buddy did, where he was like, I'm done messing around, but I don't think so. Cause he still gets down a lot. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Who knows?
It's like this, right? I mean, and this is my opinion. It's what makes you fulfilled. I think for me,
there you go.
And maybe it's the stages in life. It could be stages in life. That at this stage in my life, I really want to double down on the value that I create, because I recognize that I have abilities and I have the opportunities, not just abilities, but the opportunities, which have, been built through time, because everything happens through time and networking and all those different kinds of things. And it's almost like, I like that Eminem song, Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
I listen to it while I'm in the gym. Sometimes you don't get the opportunity again. I've had situations in my life where they were great, massive opportunities. I'll never forget, I got to tell you the story. This was when I was in corporate, and it's not a tangent because it's very related, we're talking about opportunities never coming again, because sometimes they don't. The reality is we don't live forever until they come up with something. And this one day they're like, he was wrong about that. What else was he wrong about? We do live forever now. But for the most part, we don't have a contract to live forever. There's no contract that says we're going to live forever.
Yeah.
And so thus, I take that very seriously, and I take it even more seriously now that I'm 37 than before. But I remember when I was in my mid-20s, and I used to work in corporate, and right next door, there's an office building in Mississauga, Ontario, in Canada, because I'm Canadian. There was a office building in the parking lot. There was these two Lamborghinis. There was this yellow one, Gallardo Spider, and a black one.
That must have been really cool to see.
And I was like, I go, and I love those cars. And I'd go down, and every time I see one, ever since I was a kid, I'd get this massive passion, this massive passion. And it's probably different for everyone else in different areas, but what matters is it's evoking something to you. Always finding what the thing that gets you passionate about, and moving towards that is gonna steer you up in ways you can't even imagine. So I'm like, I want to meet those guys. I want to know what they do.
Yeah.
I gotta know what they do. So one day, that was one of the guys in the yellow Gallardo convertible was sitting in the parking lot with a newspaper. He's just kind of chilling at the coffee shop just across the street with his top down, and I pulled up beside him. And I said, "Hey man, that's a nice car. It's beautiful. I love it. Whatever. And what do you do?" And he said, "Well, I own. I don't know if I can say his website, but he has a website, and they do importing and exporting of cars, and they do all kinds of cool stuff related to that. And these cars are part of the fleet, and they get to drive them, whatever. But so we can talk about how you could do things in business where you can live really well if you want, and write it off as part of your business and stuff like that. But so essentially, that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. But he had a very successful business. He was very entrepreneurial. He had a lot of passion. It was a lot of fun to be around. Being around him just put me in this different reality. You know what I'm talking about? When you're around someone, you just you just go into this different altered state. And you're I love it.
They pull out that trait in you or something. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it pulls out the whatever passion in you. And so he did that for me. And then he was just successful entrepreneurs are very decisive. They make a decision and bam, they go right away. And sometimes it can seem even impulsive, but that's a mark of a good entrepreneur, in my opinion. Someone who makes a decision and takes action right away. Right away. How can we get this out there?
Right now.
So, he said to me, he's like, "Look, you got IT background?" Because I was telling him what I do and whatnot. He's like, "We're putting tracking devices in our containers." He's like, "Come by the office. We might have a job for you."
Wow.
Right? And I was like all petrified. I froze because I was like, "Oh, I've been in this company now for 6 or 7 years. How could I just leave and go with this company and go entrepreneurial?" It was all these stories started coming up. Now I probably wouldn't think twice about it. And granted, I had a great time in corporate. I had great experiences. Wherever you are to maximize where you are. So you
make the best of every situation.
Yeah, so I can't be like, "Oh, I wish I had taken that opportunity." But you know what? The truth is that could have pivoted me in a different direction.
Yep.
I don't know. But sometimes you don't get those opportunities again. And depending on where you live and whatever, and it's kind of changed a lot right now because you have the internet, and I don't want to think scarcity, the opportunities don't exist. But the key is, if you do have a good opportunity, one of the things I learned from Eben Pagan, who's been a huge influence to me, I met him a handful of times, I know his sister-in-law, he said, be smart enough to know when you're getting lucky. Be smart enough to know when you're getting lucky. And that is that you can be out there, you can take action, you put yourself out there, and then when you see the opportunity, bam, be smart enough to know you're getting lucky and take action on it, because it could take your life on this amazing journey.
Yeah, and luck is, some people say that, because I do a lot of that self-help too, like I was telling you, but luck is, well, first of all, preparation, success, opportunities come to those who are prepared, or something like that. Like those who are prepared, I can't remember the quote, but as long as you're ready, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then when that opportunity comes, you're prepared for it. And, that's I think why I do what I do, reflecting affirmations and all that. That makes sense to you? I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I'm just enjoying listening to you.
It's good times, right? This is great. That's why I was so excited to do it off the cuff, because I really wanted the subconscious to flow, because I don't like doing things planned, because then it comes off. I mean, I believe in proper planning and stuff. You got to have, one of my favorite things is the ability to hold two polarizing thoughts in your mind. One side being like, okay, I'm going to plan, and the other side being, I'm just going to go on the whim, because both have equal benefits. And I really felt it in my heart before having this conversation with you. I was like, let's do this one on the whim. When I called you, I was like, let's do it on the whim, because that allows the subconscious to release some really valuable nuggets that you might have stifled or might have held back.
No, for sure,
Which
man.
Is why I recommend. One of the things I recommend for any entrepreneur or anybody in life is to just communicate and just talk with people. I make sure, Sean, I have structure, and I'm very laid back. And I'm adamant about certain things. One of the things I'm adamant about is I talk to 5 new people every day.
Wow.
When I'm out and about, I could be at the gym, I could be walking down the street, I could be out with friends. 5 new people every day. And I don't want nothing from them. I just want to connect with 5 people every day, because it's dynamic. You never know what's going to come out of it. Sometimes you might get a business deal. Sometimes you might make a new friend. Sometimes you might get a date. Sometimes you might meet your next girlfriend. I was in a relationship, Sean, with someone that I met, and I just went up to her and talked to her. This was in downtown Toronto. I just went up to her and talked to her. This was back on 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. I went up to her, just had a conversation with her, and then a few months later, she was my girlfriend, and we had an amazing relationship. We traveled. We went all these places together in Europe. She was from Austria. She was visiting Toronto. I lived in Austria I go back and forth. Wow. I had all these amazing experiences just from making conversation. Mm-hmm. Now, there's another power. There's a power behind this. And the power is you learn how to think quick. I believe one of the best things, people ask me, like, how do you make your videos? You sit there and you talk for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Right? Do you have a script? I don't have a script. I build my mind maps, and I got a process. I created this training program on how I do it and stuff like that. But I have a process that I put together. But then after the process is done, as far as creating the structure of the mind map, and I got my points there, I just go off. And that, I believe, doesn't come from necessarily the repetition of doing the videos, although I did a lot of them, but how I essentially talk to 5 people every day and dynamically learn how to connect and resonate with people really fast. Dynamically, like you learn some people like talking about certain subjects. Some people, they have no clue about entrepreneurship or these things that I'm really passionate about. But I don't try to impose my conversations on them. I get passionate about what they're passionate about, and then I find something that is a mutual passionate agreement, you could say, or whatever, and then we discuss that for sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes even hang out with them. And it's such a great thing. Personal development exercise. I personally believe, maybe it's a bias, I actually believe it's like the best personal development exercise that you could do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It works for you. It's great. No, because I used to do something similar to that. Like I'd go around and challenge myself and, go talk to 5 new people, memorize their eye colors, remember one weird thing about them. I don't know, just I did all kinds of stuff like that back in my 20s. But, I've done I think I've focused more on reading lately, just more reading and digesting, and actually kind of like, I wanted to ask you about your affirmations, kind of like changing direction a little, but what do you do for your affirmations? I'm kind of curious to know. I mean, do you record your own voice and just like repeat like phrases and you just loop them, or do you use like an app or something, or do you just read something, or?
So I got a handful of recommendations. Okay, so number one, my staple is, and it's been like this for years, is my morning affirmations, in which I have a note in my iPhone, and it's just positive affirmations of the person and the specific goals that I would like to achieve, but written in the present tense,
like I
that
am.
I've already achieved them. I am, I experience, and so forth like that. Because I believe in the power of reprogramming the subconscious mind, in the sense the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between tomorrow, yesterday, whatever, right? All that stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I do that, and I read those twice in the morning. And then sometimes what I do is if I notice that I have a sticking point, like let's say it could be a sticking point on some insecurity that comes up, whatever, then I'll write an affirmation, and I'll read the affirmation into a recorder, into MP3 file, and I'll play that over and over and over and over and over and over. I'll just keep playing it over and over again until I start to, like, my brain just starts to look for evidence of how it's so and whatever. And I've done that in various stages of my life. I also like, there's a bunch of YouTube videos actually that have nothing but affirmations.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting at, because I've been using those.
They're great, right? Because and here's the power behind them. Here's how I believe they are, because I've experimented with all this stuff for many years. My first personal development book that I ever read was Magic of Thinking Big when I was a kid, 15.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I experimented is that when you listen to these affirmations, if you don't believe in it, then it's not going to have the same effect. So in the starting, it might seem like you're lying to yourself. Like, listen to all these things. Like, I am the most confident person ever.
Uh-huh.
I just approach anyone and start conversation with them with ease. It's like, to some degree, you listen to that, you're like, oh, like, this is not true.
Uh-huh.
So what you have to do, and this is the trick, is to recognize that this may not feel, and just allow yourself to not feel like it's true, but say, this may not feel true right now. But the more I listen to this, the more I'm going to look for how it's true.
Yeah,
and
subconscious mind training, right? That's essentially what it is training your subconscious to accept certain things.
Yeah, so you're actually sitting there. I mean, this is the way I do it, is I sit there, and I'll just, the 1 hour repeat affirmations on YouTube, I'll listen to before I go to sleep, and I'll lie in bed and focus on each sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And I will notice a difference. Like, for me, I notice a difference in the weeks to flow,
mm-hmm.
in the months to flow.
Definitely.
So those are the ways.
Yeah, no, and I've been doing that lately too for the past few months. And there's a lot of good free content out there. I've never. So what do you actually do? I browsed over your website briefly. Looks like you're into consulting. Is that like your main deal right now? And you're, for the listeners out there, it's josephrodrigues.com, what I'm referring to. You can find him on YouTube. But Joseph, you spell your name Joseph, and Rodrigues is Rodrigues. So there's an S at the end. So anyways, josephrodrigues.com. So I'm referring to this website, but do you also have other websites as well, or other business ventures?
Yeah, I've got another website. So the way it works with what I do is I do consulting, one-off full-day consults, 1 hour consults. I'm not really fully interested in doing it, because I'm more interested in like doing percentage deals where we go into companies. I'll go in, I'll work with their company and find either arbitrage-based opportunity that exists in their marketplace, or within an opportunity that they haven't tapped into, and these various kinds of businesses. And then I'll put a deal together and execute upon the deal. I can give you examples if you want specifically.
Sure.
And take a percentage on that. And that's one way. So I earn revenue through, these are my revenue streams. I earn revenue currently through affiliate programs that I've done, which I've sold affiliate recurring revenue streams. I've sold software and different kinds of things, which I get monthly recurring revenue for. Because you sell it once, you get monthly, as long as they remain subscriber. And there's various tech-based software I sell to clients and those that contact me and so forth. That's number one. Number two is I get AdSense revenue, which is not a lot, but it's growing.
It's from your YouTube
Number
channel.
From my YouTube channel. Number three is I get the one-off, one-day consults, or the 1 hour consults, which on my site I put $300 an hour for 1 hour. And you get those now and then. You also get the I recently released my mind map training program.
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's something I've been really passionate about, and something that we can talk about the mind mapping and studying. I believe
you kill it at that mind map. Like I look at it and I'm like, this is pretty damn cool. This mind map is super cool.
Thank you. And that's been an area that a lot of people, businesses, have contacted me and say, "We got to help us with this lack of organization of notes and structure we have, and we see that you can do all these things with the mind mapping and stuff. We feel like we can figure it out and work together." And I'm like, yeah, there's ways, because I use it. Not only stuff I talk about, the mind mapping, it can be used for note taking, for planning your business, for brainstorming, for finding inconsistencies in critical thinking, a lot of different kinds of applications for it. But I created this training program explaining how I do my mind maps, the format that I use, everything from end to end, because that's what my audience was asking for from my YouTube channel. So that is selling. Then there's back ends for that, like deals I've done with Iris Reading, which is a speed reading organization. So I'll teach their workshops. We'll do partnership deals. We'll do like private workshops. I'll take a percentage of that. Then I also, and I might have repeated this earlier, but I work with these. I don't like to just do consulting. I want to do, because even it says it on my consulting page on my site. I don't know if you saw it. I'm more interested in doing the long-term partnership percentage deals, or even get into equity and stuff like that later on, which is Ben, who came in, that's the kind of stuff that he does, is they go in and they buy companies, or they do partnerships with them, and they help them with their weak areas and take a percentage of the profits. So I got some of those deals going on.
Wow.
And this multiple streams of income thing has really gone wild when I discovered it, but in a good way. Now, see, when I tell a lot of people about this, they look at this and they say, "Well, that's a lot of like moving pieces. Like, where's the security? Where's the consistency?" You learn how to, and I got a very straightforward process on doing this. I asked my list of what program they wanted me to create next, and they actually want me to create a program on how I monetize my YouTube channel. Because the truth is that arguably, even though I have what, 23,000 subscribers right now at the time this interview is being recorded.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I monetize it in ways that most people have no idea, and most YouTube channels do not do. I mean, most YouTube channels might do some consulting deals, some online training products, AdSense revenue, product placements, a few things. I do all kinds of things in the background that come from leads and opportunities. I pivot my videos in all kinds of ways. So they wanted me to explain how I did this, because I could take this process and I could apply it for anyone else building a YouTube channel, just not doing it the exact same way that I do it. You can't do it like with my voice and the ways of doing it. There's many different niches that are available. And it's really core, fundamental, principle-based business stuff, but it's really geared towards the platform of YouTube, because all this stuff, you get the fundamentals and the principles of how to put deals together, different kinds of ways of structuring deals and monetizing and stuff. You can go anywhere and make money. So I got all these things set up, and I got a systematic way of doing things to manage. And also I look at 80-20 principle and look at highest and best use. So I'm looking at, some deals, they dry up, some revenue streams dry up. So you gotta add more revenue streams. And it's a fun game. I look at it as like a puzzle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, that's really cool.
So that's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of in the beginning stages of that. I mean, I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. I went to grad school, I studied business and all that. And that really, what I learned the most from grad school was to have drive and follow my passions. That's sad to say, but that's kind of what I learned from that business degree is, I could do it. I guess it gave me more confidence, but I've been kind of on this journey. I've been playing music for quite a while and haven't really learned to monetize that as well as I would like to. And I still think about it. It's like one of those things I just don't want to give up. And I feel like eventually I'm going to get to that place where I could do something with either by myself or with my band. But I don't know, what you're telling me is really cool. And I feel like you are definitely more advanced in regards to the entrepreneur aspect. But I still feel like I have that heart and that passion that you have, because when you're talking about this stuff, I'm just kind of nodding my head yeah, I don't know how I do everything that I do, but it's what makes me tick. And I absolutely love it. I love waking up every day and having, new things to do. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. You know, Steve Jobs said it really well. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So the way this entrepreneurship business scheme or process, whatever you want to call it, works is you take action, you see results. It's like direct response marketing style. We don't know exactly how it's going to work, but we have a determination and passion that we're going to make it work, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make it work ethically, and then just go at it day in and day out. And this doesn't happen overnight. And you might look at me and say, I've got this experience, and some people might say, like, how do you know all these things? It's like, it took me many years of accumulated knowledge. I dedicate time to place myself in companies and businesses and clients and stuff that are hand-picked, because I don't want to just work with anyone, that are going to level me up. Yeah, I'm interested in profits and short-term, medium-term, long-term profits and investment growth and stuff like that. But I number one, value learning and education in the sense that if I go into businesses that I could learn higher levels of complexity than I have the ability right now to execute upon, then I'm going there, right? You read that book, Flow, by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi?
I might have. You know what's funny is, have you ever like read a book and then a couple years later go like, oh, this looks like a good book, and you're like, wait a minute, I read this one. I feel like that's one of those books for me. So I don't remember if I read that one or not.
It's great. I love the concept of flow because it talks about flow state, which is essentially the state we want to be in, to be challenged and passionate. And essentially that's what it is. To get into flow state, it's where challenge meets passion. So when something is just a little bit more challenging, that you're stimulated by it to go after it, and then when you get the result, you raise the bar and you just keep going. So your skill meets the challenge. There's like an equation. And what happens is you just go at this every day. You try things, it doesn't work, and then you reflect upon it and you see why it didn't work. You try other things, you find some opportunities that I had no idea I was going to get into, the things I was getting into right now. I thought I was going to build a very linear IT business that was going to be based on like managed services and stuff like that, and that was it. But the doors opened up because you start to see that there was other things that were more profitable than, and if you focus on, well, I was focusing on trying to maximize profits, and then I started opening up all these other doors and getting into these other areas. And then I started to realize that, wow, now I'm accumulating all this knowledge, and now I got to figure out how to do this other thing that I never thought I would have to figure out how to do, which was core business skills. And then I'd go to learn about it and go and implement it, and then another door would open, another door would open. And you just keep going. And in the starting, it's hard. The first couple of years in business, I wasn't making a profit. I lost like $20,000. Now, you know what that's like, Sean, when I had a pretty good, well-paying job in corporate, a lot of opportunity. At the age of 29, I had my own house and everything. For all intents and purposes, I was living the life that everybody wanted to live. And I came from a poor background, so I created everything from scratch, got up to a certain level in corporate, and then it was like, I'm going to go into the entrepreneurship route.
I'm sure
and
your
then
parents
just pull the
that,
plug.
huh? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think about my mom's always like, he's always been doing crazy things like this, but he figures out a way to make it work. And that's the mark of an entrepreneur. It's, you do all kinds of great. So I never asked you, like, your audience, are they mostly entrepreneurs?
I don't have any specific data. I mean, I go on Libsyn and I pay the extra, but it doesn't tell me exactly who's on it. And that's another thing I've been kind of like, I'm not really interested in learning that, but I occasionally go back and visit it, and but I mean, I'm averaging about 70 listens per episode, so it's not like super high, but it is steadily growing. And every once in a while I'll get like the itch to go back and start learning a little bit more about like the marketing aspects and all that. So I couldn't answer that question directly.
I like, so 70 is good. And so here's what you just evoked this thought that I want to share. If there's any entrepreneurs listening, and how I got to here, and I'm leveling up, going next level and so forth, is I value every little metric, and you got to value every metric. So some entrepreneurs will look at a podcast or a YouTube channel or a blog or any of these kind of related kind of businesses, because we have similar models for these kind of businesses. And they look at, they put a product out, they put something out there, and it doesn't convert. doesn't sell. They're like, everything didn't work. It's like, no, it's what part of it didn't work. You see, is your lead generation on point? What are the elements involved with your lead generation process? Is your copywriting on point? What are the elements you need to optimize in your copy? Is it the offer that resonates to the marketplace? There's tons. We can go on list by list by list. But if you've got 70 people, then what that means is you've tapped into 70, and I don't know if they're loyal or not, but let's say they were loyal. 70 people, because my YouTube channel, I remember those days when it was like 100 or 200 subscribers, but they were loyal. They would ask me when a video was coming out if I didn't release it. And I just kept writing that day in and day out, and that's it. You just, crank. This is the grind, This is what Robert Greene talks about in Mastery. It's a grind. You go in and day out, and you discipline yourself to do it, and it starts to build. And then you start to optimize. And, you do it with time, and next thing you know, you got something. A great example, I always give this example, is Mike from Maine. Mike from Maine.com, a very interesting guy. He does about $30,000 to $50,000 US net profit a month right now off a site that he had started as a general blog to keep in contact with his family, right? And then but one thing about Mike, I've talked to him many times, is he's very, very big on optimization, looking at data and valuing every metric. You got 70 people now, even you got whatever metric that is clicks or views or whatever. If people are engaging with it, then we can take them to the next step. It might not be the end result of what we want them to do. Like, I never thought I would be selling a mind mapping course, but you listen to your audience and you grow there. And I think that's the fun part about this journey, Sean, is optimization. And if a person does not love optimization, they're going to be very stressed out, because a lot of times you have an idea and you put it out there. It's not going to work. This is just how the marketplace is. If everyone can figure out the marketplace, it was so easy, everyone would be making money and millions of dollars, and that wouldn't even work. The equation wouldn't even work. So there's a lot of challenge. But if you look at it, if you reframe how you look at it and say, I might not get the end result, but I'm a step closer today. I got my first post up. I got 5 people that shared it. I got to look at why they shared it, how they shared it, when they shared it, who was it that shared it, and you get really passionate about it. Mm-hmm. That's when your business really starts to grow. And I'm talking about things right now as I'm reflecting upon. I said first couple of years in business, losing like $20,000. If I go back in time with the knowledge I have right now, that would not have happened. I would have been profitable from the first week, the first day actually, because you know what you know now, and what I'm sharing when I talk about optimization is a large part of it is focus. Key principles: highest and best use, optimization, and looking at and evaluating and seeing where's the money, right? Am I doing things right now that is just like Ben said, Farang, and making it seem like it, because like the market's only going to pay for value, and it's a disservice to force things down their throat, right? Just be like, buy this.
Yeah.
You gotta build a resonance with them. You gotta care about them. You gotta hear what their pains and frustrations are. You gotta give them tons of value. You know what I mean? Like, why I tried to do that on my YouTube channel is I laced the value. I just value after value. I was like, how you talk for 2 hours, 1 hour every week. You make these videos, and you don't ask for a penny, because it's called investing. That's a higher level entrepreneur thinks that way. Investing, you invest first. You invest in people. You invest in their growth. They're gonna make money off the advice. They're gonna reciprocate. Most people will. So, that's how it is.
Yeah,
that was my little tangent, but
they're getting value.
There's a rat-tat-tat thing.
Yeah, no, I got your. I get value out of your videos. I think that's maybe where I think I listened to Flow on your YouTube, and I got busy, didn't return to it, but no, I got, like I said, that first video I saw just hooked me, and I subscribed to you, and I just listened to you, and I'm like, this guy's cool. But I
appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you getting back to me, and then the first few minutes of our call, I was a little nervous, and then I feel pretty comfortable now. So it's a trip how that happened, for at least in my world. It's this guy.
You might be onto something, Sean. Just doing no preparation, just doing interviews like this. Bam, bam, bam.
That's just how I roll, though, man. I used to freestyle rap back in high school, and I just really, I don't know. It's like I tried to map them out before, where I would have it all dialed in. and it just didn't come.
Freestyle's the best way, right? I mean, I got biased towards freestyle.
Totally, man.
You know,
have a loose structure, maybe. Or like usually it'll be like I want to do like a podcast on this or something, and then that's like it, like the general idea, and then I might remember an example or two. But I it's been fun. It's I can't wait back and go listen to it. I usually don't edit them either. I mean, I probably should go back and edit some of these.
Yeah, edit the excessive profanity, and when it's edited out, everyone will be wondering how excessive of profanity
it's all good. I could do that. Yeah.
Sprinkled.
It's all good. Joseph, any plugs? Any plugs you want to get on this before we kind of wrap it up here?
Yeah, if you want to learn more, I guess you'll put a link to my YouTube channel. Sure. I apologize. I'd love to link back to. I'm going to share this interview actually.
For sure.
I'm going to get a copy. I think it's a great interview, and yeah, my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Joseph Rodrigues, or you can go to josephrodrigues.com, and I have my story and whatever else about me that I would like to share on there as a starting point.
Definitely, and my page is at b-show.com because chances are a lot of people are going to listen to it if you share it. So, mutual benefit. I really appreciate your time, Joseph. It's been really fun. I feel like I know you a little bit better.
So you're good. You're a good interviewer. I like it.
I just try to listen. That's what it is.
I don't feel tired.
Great. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this.
I only want to do things that are productive that I don't feel tired afterwards.
Dude, well, do you ever work out and feel tired? I feel tired after I work out. Do you get tired after you work out, or do you get energized?
No, I don't actually. I get energized, so I do my workouts in the morning.
Maybe I think I've been trying to work on my breathing lately because I'm like, maybe I'm not breathing well enough. It's it's always unfolding, but I'm like, how come I always get
optimization?
There we go.
you got whole points of things. Is it breathing? Is it not enough nutrition? Not enough sleep? Maybe different times of day?
Yep, definitely. Well,
all kinds of things.
But at the same time, sometimes I just do it. Like if it's late at night, I'm like, crap, I didn't work out today. I'm like, okay, just 10 minutes of it at least, and there it is.
Well, I like that. One of the things that I'm really adamant about is developing. I don't know if it's a muscle, but self-discipline and persistence muscle is kind of the key for any success in any personal development area, whatever area you're trying to improve in. Willpower, good old-fashioned willpower. Just develop it in any opportunity you can.
Yeah, I did this video. I think it was a video. I kind of started doing a couple YouTube videos, and I got caught up in like the editing. I'm like, okay, this is too much crap right now. But I think I did a video and a podcast about 10 minutes a day, and I heard another like Japanese proverb about doing something that you want to do, at least work on it for 60 seconds a day. And if you do that every day, then eventually it'll be easy and it'll be a habit, and then you could start adding to the minutes if you feel like it. But for me, I kind of came up with this 10 minutes a day thing kind of on my own because I have like a lot of stuff going on. I like a podcast. I make music. I make beer. I spend time with my family. I love, affirmations, all that. I'm like, okay, at least let me put in like 10 minutes of playing my bass or something, or like doing something with music, even if it's like watching a video about some kind of education about it. And I don't hit it every time, but I feel like that really keeps me connected to something. Because have you ever gotten involved with anything and you're really passionate about it, then like 3 months go by and you're like, dude, I haven't even touched that thing for like 3 months. And I could barely remember where I picked up from. And it's like, why did I?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, like, there's a lot. I mean, I would like to get better in snowboarding.
Well, you got to get up to the mountains then.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Joseph, thank you very much for your time. Stay on the line. I'm just going to stop this podcast.
Thank you, Sean.